Let me ask you something before I say anything else. Where is home? Not the building, not the walls and the roof, the real home. The place where you know every faces on the street, where the soil remembers your family's hand, where your children learn to walk and your parents grew old and every corner holds a memory that no photograph can replace. Now imagine someone comes to your door. Not a disaster, not a flood, not an earthquake, but a government official. And they say, we have decided this place is dangerous, you have to leave, we will find you somewhere safer. They mean well. They genuinely mean well. But when you arrive at the new place, it is not home. The faces are strangers, the land is unfamiliar, the work you knew how to do does not exist here, and the disaster you were moved away from, it did not follow you, but the grief of losing everything you loved, that followed you everywhere. Today, I am Jeremy Osiakrison as the proposition team stands for something simple. The state's job is not to move people away from danger. The state's job is to make people strong enough to face it without tearing their lives apart in the process. So we strongly propose. What this motion means and what it does not. Prioritize means this. Mitigation is the state's first answer, its default commitment, and its primary investment. Relocation is the last resort, not the first. Because when the state prioritizes relocation, it does not protect communities. It destroys them in a different way and calls it safety. So first, there is no area on this earth with zero danger. Moving people does not remove risk, it moves it. Think about where disaster-prone areas exist. They exist because of geography. Fault line runs in system. Floodplain exists because the river flow through valleys, and the next valley has the same river system. Volcanic zones spread across entire mountain ranges. Coastal erosion affects entire coastline. When a state relocates a community from a dangerous area, where does it move them? Of course, to the nearest available land. And the nearest available land in almost every cases sits within the same geographical danger zone. The family relocated from the floodplain moves to the next valley, which flows for the same reason. The community moves off the volcanic slope relocates to the adjacent slope of the same volcano. You have not removed the danger. You have moved the people sideways within it and taken their livelihood in exchange for the illusion of safety. Look at what happened with communities living near Mount Merapi in Java, repeatedly told to relocate. Many moved, but many came back. Not because they were irrational, not because they did not understand the risk, but because the land they were moved to could not replace what Merapi slope gave them. Volcanic soil is among the most fertile on earth. Their entire agricultural existence depended on being there. Relocation did not make them safe. It made them poor and displaced, while the volcano remained exactly where it was. There is no area with zero danger. The question the state must answer is not how do we find safe land, because perfectly safe land does not exist. The question is how do we make the land our people already call home strong enough to protect them. Think of it this way. Your home area is your heart. Other areas are the body. When you want to fix everything, when you want a nation to be stronger, more resilient, more prepared, you start with the heart. You strengthen the place that matters most to the people who live there. And when that place becomes stronger, it becomes a model. Other areas learn, other communities follow. You do not fix a nation by scattering its people toward danger they do not know. You fix it by making the places they lost strong enough to hold them. And Japan understood this. Japan sits one of the most seismically and dangerous zones on earth. Earthquakes are not rare. They are regular there. Japan did not relocate its population away from the danger zones. It built earthquake-resistant infrastructure, developed early warning systems, and trained in community until preparedness became a national culture. Tokyo has survived earthquakes that would have flattened cities built without that investments. Japan chose its heart, it strengthened it, and it becomes a model the whole world studies. Second, trauma happens either way, but the only one option gives people the conditions to heal. Opposition will tell you that staying in the disaster-prone areas causes trauma. I mean, they are not wrong. Disaster does cause trauma. Watching your home flood, your community destroyed, that does leave a mark. But here is what opposition will not tell you. Trauma has two relationships with place. The first one is the one opposition assumes, where the place triggers the memory. Lift the place and then lift the trigger. But the second relationship is the one that actually determines recovery. Places is also the source of healing. The community around you, the people who went through the same thing, who understand without being told, who help you rebuild because they are rebuilding themselves, the familiar land your hands already know, the routines that survived even when the building didn't. These are not triggers. These are anchors. And anchors are what keep a traumatized person from drowning. When the state relocates a trauma survivor, it removes every anchor simultaneously. It says, we know you are broken, so we are going to take everything that could have helped you heal your community, your land, your identity, and place you in a strange location with none of it, and then we will offer psychological support. But you cannot heal a broken heart by moving into a new body. Psychological recovery requires familiarity, community, and continuity. This exists where people are from, not where the government sends them. Proposition says keep the anchors, invest in mitigation, and when disaster does strike, provide psychological support where people already are, in their community, on their land, among faces they recognize, not in displacement where healing is actually possible. Third, mitigation builds a nation, relocation builds nothing. When the state invests in mitigations, flood barriers, earthquake resistant buildings, and early warning systems, community disaster training, those investment does not disappear after one disaster. They protect the same community from the next disaster, and the model built in that community can be replicated. Other at-risk areas learn from it. The nation's capacity to survive disasters grow with every investment, and the Netherlands understood this. 2/3 of the Netherlands sits below sea level. By any measure, it should be uninhabitable. Instead of relocating its entire population, the Netherlands built a water management system over generations. They did not run from the water, they learned to live with it, manage it, and turn what should have been a catastrophe into one of the most prosperous and stable nations on earth. They chose mitigation not once but as a permanent national commitment. Now consider relocation. The state moves one community from a dangerous area. That problem is solved. But every other disaster-prone area in the country remains exactly as dangerous as before. The next community at risk gets the same offer, leave, and as climate changes makes more areas dangerous, the state keeps moving people, running out of safe land and producing poverty, because a relocated company that has lost its livelihood becomes dependent on the state indefinitely. Mitigation is an investment that multiplies. Relocation is a cost that repeats forever. Our solution. Proposition proposes a two-part framework. For areas that experience disaster and remain survivable, the state invests in mitigation infrastructure and rebuild the community where they are. Psychological support is provided within the community among familiar people and land, not in displacement. The healing happens where the root already are. For areas that are genuinely and permanently unsurvivable, where no mitigation measure can make survival possible, voluntary relocation is available with full state support. But this threshold is high, not dangerous, impossible to protect, but because dangerous describe almost every place on earth we're living in. The state does not decide for the communities, it invests in them. It stands beside them. It makes the place they call home strong enough to hold them, and when it cannot, it helps them choose, not forces them to flee. Honorable judges, home is not a building. You can rebuild a building, but you cannot rebuild home, because home is the place where your life is shaped around. The faces you know, the land that feeds you, the community that carries you when you cannot carry yourself. Disaster destroys building. The state does not need to destroy the rest. When the state prioritizes mitigation, it makes a promise to its people. We will not abandon you to danger, and we will not tear you from the place that makes you whole. We will stand with you. We will build with you, and when the storm comes, and it will come, you will be standing on the land you love. That is not just a better policy. That is what it means to protect people. So we strongly propose.